What's up, everyone? Good morning. Welcome back to the stream. Hopefully, y'all had a good night's sleep and are ready for a hopefully green trading day. Now, before we actually start talking about stocks and finance and money and all that, I actually wanted to show you guys something because someone was saying yesterday that they don't want me to say anything too important in the first couple minutes of the stream. Because sometimes it takes people a while to find the notification or whatnot. So I will actually be showing you something that's it's important, but it's not related to stocks. It's actually about coffee, which I have a cup of right here. I've been drinking it lately, and there are apparently a bunch of health benefits. First of all, good morning, me love you long time. I am waking up with this cup of coffee right here. Good morning, Rich M. And Daniel Brago says fun day, and good morning, Tong Tay. So first off, coffee has quite a few health benefits. I won't talk about this too long, just probably 30 seconds or so. But it has been shown that it can potentially be beneficial for preventing and reducing cancer. And obviously, don't take my word for it. This is the site right here that I'm using. But type 2 diabetes, apparently it's useful for helping to prevent heart health. It's beneficial for depression, neurodegenerative diseases, gallstones, and potentially longevity and mortality. It's helpful for as well. So there are a bunch of studies that show that coffee's pretty good for you, and obviously not everybody's interested in it, but that is what I wanted to talk about just for the first minute of the stream or two while we waited for some people to get in here before we started talking about stocks, because there is quite a bit of important stuff going down today. We've got Fed Powell coming in later in the day. He's coming in around 10. He's going to give another testimony, hopefully raise the stock market this time instead of crush it like he did yesterday. And Janet Yellen is also supposed to be speaking. So, good morning, Silver. Good morning, Corey 2SS and Auto Codes. What's up, man? Sundial to the moon. I'm a coffee addict. 2 Americanos in a day. Wow. I usually just do a cup, but I don't know how much caffeine is in this. It's a cup of instant coffee, so I could technically be putting a ton in. It could be a lot more than I think. And Silver says, Rob, check out the 4.7 million shares of Lowe's that sold last 5 trading days. Lowe's sold about 1.5 billion in stock. Lumber up 30%. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Lowe's, is LOW Lowe's company. That's it right there. So they have fallen just a touch yesterday, as did most stocks, right? Most stocks were down yesterday, but it looks like, wow, yeah, they've been doing pretty good. Quite a few shares trading in the after hours too. So they've been doing pretty good over the past month or so, past year as well. They've been doing incredibly well. Yeah, Lowe's is doing very nicely. And is this the day Sundial will wake up? Says Rico. We're all waiting for that day. Hopefully today is the day. It looks like we're up a bit in the pre-market. It could be the day. We never know exactly what day it's going to be. Shorts are betting actually that today won't be the day. If you look at Sundial on Ortex, you can see that the short interest is actually up a touch. It's up 1.18%, and we can see it right here, that shorts are actually increasing their positions. We're up to 293 million shares short. However, that hasn't stopped the rise of Sundial, right? We are up on the day regarding what happened in the pre-market. We're still up a little bit from where we closed. So that is good stuff. Happy to see it. And regarding today, I think that we've waited long enough. We've waited about 4 minutes into the stream so we can start talking about some of the more important economic information. I'll start out with some of the unimportant stuff, and I'll definitely mention it again for people who have missed it. But first off, something that we've got today is at 10, Fed Chair Powell testifies. I guess he's coming back. Potentially, people didn't like what he said yesterday, and he's going to maybe be coming back and clarifying some things, clearing up some issues. He said that inflation might not be transitory as they once thought yesterday. So we'll see what happens in this Fed meeting. But yesterday, if you look at the SPY, we'll pull it up over Sundial right here for a second. If you look at what happened yesterday, it was not a good day after he started talking. We kind of moved down in a pretty big way after he started speaking. He started at 10, and about 40 minutes in, about 35 minutes in, we started crashing stock-wise. Not the most serious crash, and we have regained most of that in the after hours and pre-market. But we'll see what happens at 10 today when he speaks. And we've also got another important economic person speaking today. We've got Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen speaking at 10 also. So at 10, Janet Yellen will speak. She speaks frequently on a broad range of subjects, and her speeches are often used to signal administration policy shifts to the public and to foreign governments. So she's the Treasury Secretary. We're going to see what she has to say. Good morning, Joey. And, Janet Yellen could either boost the markets or potentially hurt them, depending on what she says. We'll see. But also at I think 10:30 today, I believe it's 10:30, we have crude oil inventories coming out. Now this is important. Crude oil inventories will indicate what gas prices might be doing in the near future. Hopefully we'll see. I think we want to see I believe it's an increase in inventories that we want. Level of inventories influences the price of petroleum. If the increase in crude inventories is more than expected, it implies weaker demand and is bearish for crude prices. Yeah, so we want to see an increase in inventories, and that will essentially mean that there isn't as much demand for oil or that there is more supply. And that could help lower gas prices. So that would be very nice to see for a lot of companies that are using gas to either transport their goods or to create their goods. That would be really good. And Rico says, coffee lover here as well, including ice cream from Cold Stone coffee flavor. Nice. Yeah, I actually just got Cold Stone ice cream the other day. It was not coffee flavor, but it was very good. It was the German chocolate cake. So it was delicious. But yeah, I know Cold Stone does good stuff. I should try their coffee flavor sometime. We will pull up the SPY here and move DWAC to this chart right here just because it's been a little bit inactive in the after hours and pre-market. But SPY, I'm curious to see what it will do. Okay, and Silver says more testing requirements for U.S. travelers just issued. Interesting. We'll see what effect that has. And one other important thing that's going to be going on today is there will be an OPEC meeting, and we don't know exactly what time this will be, but an OPEC meeting, that's basically the big oil barons from the Middle East will be discussing how much oil they're going to be producing. We want to see that they'll be producing more, right? Because they definitely could. They could raise their production, and that would then lower the cost of oil if there's more supply. The last time they had a meeting, they decided to do nothing. They decided to keep their production exactly the same, and that ended up not having much of an effect on prices, right? Prices continued to rise because they did that instead of them increasing the supply of oil and potentially decreasing prices as a lot of people were hoping they would. We'll see what they do this time around when they've got another chance. It looks like the next meeting is, it looks like actually they have two meetings scheduled, one for today and one for tomorrow. So they've got two meetings scheduled, interesting stuff. And OPEC meetings are attended by representatives from 13 oil-rich nations. They discuss a range of topics regarding energy markets and agree on how much oil they will produce. OPEC is responsible for nearly 40% of the world's oil supply. So this is a relatively important meeting, and it will likely happen after hours, it looks like. The last time they had these meetings, they were at 4 or 5, so it'll probably happen around the same time is my guess. So that probably won't affect stocks during the trading day today, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Or in the after hours even. We'll see what happens based off of the OPEC meeting. It could be good, it could be bad. They probably want more expensive oil. And Rich M says, as soon as Yellen shows her face, the markets will drop. Yeah, we'll see. She hasn't been good for the markets. She hasn't been great for them in the past. Typically, Powell has been pretty good whenever Powell has spoken. And he will be speaking today at 10. So we'll see if he can bring some light to the markets, if he can make stocks move up instead of down like he did yesterday. He really did tank stocks when he started speaking yesterday, discussing worries about the Omicron and inflation fears. A lot of stocks moved down on that because he said that inflation may not be transitory as they once thought. So we'll see what happens with that. But we've also got some interesting movements in crypto. We're not gonna talk about crypto too long, but we have Bitcoin moving down just a touch. We've got Ethereum moving up about as much as Bitcoin moved down, right? Bitcoin's down 0.74%, Ethereum's up 0.8%. And what's interesting is Shiba Inu is taking a bit of a breather. It is down 10% on the day because it was up 30% yesterday. It was a pretty drastic change that we saw with Shiba Inu. And if you take a look at let's look at the 7-day, you can see that it did have a pretty nice rise yesterday. And it reached peaks of 5229, it looks like, 538 actually. And now it's down to 46. So we'll see what happens with Shiba Inu, right? If it continues this big downtrend that it's been on, if maybe this is just a temporary little bump in the price when it got listed on Kraken and on potentially some metaverse news that people are talking about, we'll see. If this is temporary or if this sustains itself, if it continues to form an uptrend, that could be good for Shiba Inu holders. Apparently, I looked at my portfolio. Apparently, I still am a Shiba Inu coin holder. I thought that I had sold it, but I sold some of it way back when, but I still hold some. And good morning, Ludwig. What's up? And Joey says, I'm thinking of increasing my position in Sundial because it's cheap, but worried about delisting in Feb. What's your opinion? Yeah, so the delisting is potentially possible. I don't think that they would let it happen. I think that if they can't manage to boost the price up by getting Sundial into an uptrend and doing buybacks, if they can't manage to get it over $1 for 10 days in a row by February, I think that they would actually do a reverse stock split where they essentially take 2 shares of the stock, they turn it into 1, and they double the price. So I think that as a last resort, that's what they would do. So I'm not worried about Sundial being delisted. I think they know the importance of the U.S. markets and how many U.S. supporters they have, how many people are buying them on the NASDAQ. I think they know that that's a relatively important market to have access to, especially if they want to one day, when cannabis is legalized, become a meme stock. I think that they definitely want to be listed on the NASDAQ at that time. So I don't think they're going to let themselves get delisted. That's just my opinion. So I'm not too worried about a delisting. I think that they are pretty darn cheap right now. And what I did yesterday actually was looking at Sundial options. I sold some January 2023 options on Sundial. I sold some puts at 50 cents for about 17 cents per share. 17 cents, yeah. So essentially what this did was this allows me to, it obligates me actually to buy up shares of Sundial if it breaks below 50 cents per share. So I'm essentially saying if Sundial is below 50 cents per share on January 20th of 2023, so in about a year from now, actually, in a year from next January, if Sundial is below 50 cents, then I'll buy Sundial for 50 cents. And I got paid in the meantime a 17-cent premium to do that. So essentially, I'll be buying the Sundial for 33 cents per share in 2023. And I don't think that Sundial will be below 50 cents per share. I think that what will probably happen is I'll just get to keep that 17-cent premium. But in the meantime, I do have the obligation to buy Sundial at below 50 cents per share, or at 50 cents per share. I have to pay 50 cents if Sundial ends up breaking below and people execute those options contracts that I've sold. So I think it's overall a pretty good sale of those contracts, right? Because I don't think Sundial will be going below 50 cents, and I definitely don't think it will be going below 33 cents, which is where I would be breaking even on the stock. And to lose money on this trade, it would have to be below 33 cents. So I think it would be crazy for Sundial to be that low, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I would be happy to scoop up Sundial shares in a year from now for 50 cents per share. That would be an incredible buy, I think. So, well, actually, technically 33 cents per share, but Silver says, is Sundial chart pattern similar to other pot stocks, TLRY, CGC, and ACB? Well, unfortunately, we'll pull up some of the pot stocks, but yeah, a lot of them over the past year have been doing essentially the same thing, right? They've essentially just they had that massive spike. We'll pull up CGC and ACB as well. But yeah, a lot of these cannabis companies, if we look over the past year, have been doing pretty much the same thing, right? Some worse than others. Some of them, like CGC, have just been moving down and down. Sundial has consolidated a little bit, around 70 cents, if not now 60 cents. And ACB's been moving down a little bit. It's done some consolidation. TLRY has been trending down a bit. Sundial bottomed out a little bit before these other ones. It ended up hitting about 70 cents way back when, and it hasn't moved down that much more. It's moved down a touch. But for the most part, it's been a little bit more bullish than these other cannabis stocks. So you can see on the charts right here that they really have been decreasing pretty steadily, at least some of them. And others, there's been some volatility, but they have been decreasing until late at least. Sundial, at the moment, though, I will point out, just yesterday made new lows, whereas some of these other stocks did not, right? Aurora did not make new lows yesterday. They got close, but they didn't make new lows. Canopy Growth did, and TLRY, it looks like they did as well. So they're following pretty darn similar patterns. Unfortunately, all of them are getting beaten down. That's just what the market makers want. That's what the institutions want at the moment. They have big short positions on these things, so they want to push them down and collect a profit on them. Who knows how much longer they'll be able to do it. I think they're all pretty darn cheap because it's very cheap. Got Global Cannabis as well. Nice. Yeah, I think they're all pretty darn cheap at the moment. I think that they're becoming pretty good buys at these prices, especially regarding how soon we could be seeing cannabis legalization. I think that that's a really big catalyst that people, I guess that the institutions are just completely ignoring, it seems like. Silver says, watch metals after this week's news on all fronts. Yeah, I haven't actually taken a peek. Let's see what gold is doing on the day. So it looks like they're up after hours. They had a horrible day yesterday when Powell spoke, and it doesn't make any sense. I guess he was discussing potentially tapering sooner than was expected. But, I mean, other than that, it sounded like it should have been great for gold, talking about how inflation might not be transitory, finally admitting that inflation might be here for a while. And Francis, good morning, man. And Ludwig says shorts cannot close their positions without covering. Correct? That's correct. Covering is closing their positions. So that's exactly what it is. Yep. And first quarter 2022 is when red states will vote on MJ. Yeah, I hope. I hope so. I mean, not even the states, but the federal government might be doing the same thing. So we'll see. There is that Republican legalization pill in there, and I think that if Nancy Mace keeps pushing it, it's going to be tough for Democrats to say no to legalizing cannabis because they've been trying to do it for so long, supposedly, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. But I am pretty darn bullish on cannabis stocks over the next couple of weeks and months. I think the cannabis stocks are going to be doing pretty well. And of course, we'll have to see what happens. But I'm pretty darn confident in them. I like the idea of these cannabis stocks being good long-term plays. I think that that's going to be the case. So we'll see. No guarantees, but I think that they've just gotten pushed down too much. I mean, look at how high they rose. If you look over the past year at Sundial on the hype that they might be getting legalized in the past, just when Democrats got elected into, just when they took over the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, then cannabis stocks were up huge. A lot of them too, not just Sundial, but TLRY. Pretty much all the cannabis stocks were up huge about a year ago when there were hopes for legalization. Turns out Democrats didn't do it, but now that Republicans are pushing for it, I think that these are kind of sleeping giants. I think that nobody's expecting it to happen, at least not the institutions with big money. And good morning, Shadow Girl. But I think that there really is a chance that legalization does happen, and sooner than people think. I think that probably sometime in early 2022, maybe mid-2022, if the politicians really, really push it back and give it their all to fight against. But I don't know how much longer they could do it now that there's people on both sides of the aisle saying let's legalize. So it's going to be tough, but I am pretty confident in legalization. I think that that's going to happen relatively soon. So Silver says, get ready to move fast in portfolio December and January. Yeah, I've been tax loss harvesting. You definitely want to take advantage of that. That's my opinion, at least. I've been selling some of the losers over the years, or over the year, and just collecting some tax write-offs, essentially, right? So that's definitely a benefit. If you have any stocks that are down big, potentially a time to sell them is in December. And as long as you wait a month before buying back into them, you get to write that off as a loss on your taxes. So that's a potential benefit to selling stocks near the end of the year, right? If you've made some gains and you're going to pay taxes on your gains, well, you can sell some losers in the meantime and then buy them back in a month. And granted, they could be higher in a month, they could be lower, and that way you get a little write-off on your taxes. Now, that's not tax advice or anything. That's just something that I've heard you can do and that I'm doing right now. But that's something you've got if you're interested in if you have a bunch of profits over the course of the year and you want a slightly lower tax bill, because it's higher than people would expect. The taxes, if you're trading and if you're not long-term investing, if you're not holding stocks that you've sold for gain for more than a year and you're not getting that capital gains tax rate, it is just your regular income tax rate, I believe, that you're paying on gains for stocks. So it can be pretty significant. If you're paying 20% of your winnings just to taxes, then that can be pretty significant, especially if you have some losers that you're holding. All right, and Ludwig asks, Rob, what do you think of Halo Collective Inc. stock? Halo Collective, Halo. That's not the one. Halo Collective. Halo Collective, where is that? Huh. So what's the ticker symbol for Halo Collective? I can't say I've heard of Halo Collective. I mean, potentially we've looked at it on the channel before. Let's see what the ticker symbol is. It's HCANF. Okay, HCANF. Halo Collective. So it's down big on the day. And potentially it just got listed today or something. It looks like there's only one day on the chart for it. So, no, okay, there's a couple of days, but geez, this one's been falling a bit and on very low volume too. So it must be a really small market cap stock. It looks like the market cap doesn't even show on. Let's see if it has it on Google Finance. Google Finance. Jeez. Let's see, where's the market cap on this one? So it's a Canadian stock. Yeah, pretty darn low volume. Can't say quite what I think about it without knowing what it does, but let's see if they've got a description on MarketWatch. I don't have any profits yet, just loss, says Shadow Girl. That's unfortunate, but I think you can carry over some losses if you sell them. I believe you can carry over some losses to the next year, but better probably to just hold on to them, in my opinion, at least. Better to just hold on to them for now and then sell them next year if you have some profits also, or potentially they can turn into profits. So, yeah, man, I'm not sure what I think of Halo Collective. It looks like they're a tough one to track down. Very small stock. So it's a cannabis stock. Okay, I kind of figured when I saw they were Canadian. But let's see if they've got anything on Yahoo Finance. So market cap of 39 million. So pretty darn low market cap. Let's see. Okay, so 16 hours ago, they confirmed stock symbol reverts back to HACNF. So HCANF. Okay. So maybe that's why they weren't popping up on many search results. They just made this change, it looks like. Okay. So, Halo Collective confirms a Conduct Corp submission of draft registration statement for a proposed initial public offering. Yeah, I mean, this is potentially, if it's a cannabis stock, I'm not sure how exactly they're doing fundamental-wise, but they could be good. They could be good over the long term. If it gets legalized, I mean, all the cannabis stocks tend to move together, and this is a very low market cap one, so they certainly could benefit bigly from legalization. HACNF right there, though they have been getting hurt over the past while. Who knows how much further down they could fall. They might not have the most established business since they're fairly low market cap. It stands to reason that they probably wouldn't have the most established business, but they could certainly be good. I want to sell put like you for the January 2023, so I keep the premium. It's my first time selling put, says Sub-Zero. Yeah. So, definitely risky because you are putting up, I mean, all right, take a peek. It's, it seems risky. It's not as risky as buying the stock, right? Because buying the stock, you could lose, if it goes bankrupt, 62 cents. Selling the 2023 put at 50 cents, the most you could lose, your max loss, would be if the stock went to zero, you'd be losing 32 cents per share if you're selling it for 18. So you'd be losing 32 cents versus the potential 62. So it's a pretty low risk compared to what you're facing just buying the stock. It's much lower reward as well, I will say, right? If Sundial goes to $100 per share, I don't think it would, but if it does, then you'd be making massive gains having bought the stock, but you'd still just be making the same 18-cent premium selling this. So it's a high, low risk, low reward, but high probability of success. So that's why I like this. And I've already got a lot of Sundial shares myself. I already, have a bunch of those. So I'm not too interested in buying too many more. Obviously, I would be willing to buy some more if they got cheaper, right? That's why I'm selling these put options, so that, if Sundial does get even cheaper, then I would actually be acquiring more Sundial, and I would not mind holding it. But I think that's the best situation to sell a put option. And if you actually want to hold more of the stock, if you're willing to, so you don't mind if it expires in the money, you'd actually be glad to get the stock for that cheap. That's a good situation. Yeah, that's something you can potentially do if you're looking to make money. Obviously, don't just take my word on it. It's something you can do, and you should definitely know what you're doing when messing around selling options, because if you do it the wrong way, depending on your broker, they might not have the proper mechanisms in there to stop you from doing something very risky. And there are potentially ways, selling options where you could lose quite a bit of money, especially call options, right? If you sold call options and the stock skyrocketed, then you could lose quite a bit, potentially infinite amounts if you haven't, covered it in any way, right? If you don't have the underlying shares, if it's not a covered call, if it's a naked call, you could potentially be losing quite a bit. With puts, it's a little bit safer, especially when the put is so cheap for Sundial, because the lowest the stock can go is 0. And, breaking below 50 cents would be tough in and of itself, but it would be very tough for Sundial to go to 0. So it seems very unlikely that you'd lose much money on this trade, but you never know. So, okay, and Travis Baruso says, "Hey Rob, I think I may have got in a little too early on KOMOF stock. It just seemed like a good news and like a lot of good news, and they seem to be growing, but their share price isn't. Thoughts?" So KOMOF, we'll take a peek. KOMOF. Como Plant-Based Foods, Inc. Yeah, okay. I think we've looked at this before. So this is the plant-based foods company. And the good news and whatnot, maybe they are improving their business, right? That doesn't always correlate to a higher stock price. Sometimes it's potentially possible that when they spiked up big, people were already pricing in a lot of good news. They were already expecting the company to do very well. And as more good news came out, it was just in line with expectations. And some of the initial investors in this maybe thought there was going to be more momentum and are now selling their shares. So, if you're in this one for the long term, if you care about this company over the long term, then, you shouldn't be dissuaded by a falling stock price. And, I don't know anything about the fundamentals of the company, right? I don't know about the good news. But just because the stock price isn't doing what you think over a couple of months doesn't mean that it's not going to do what you think over years, right? If they really are doing well fundamentally and there is good news coming out for them, then I think that could be a good thing to hold for the long term, right? If you believe in the company. If this was just a little trade for you and you were trading in off the good news, hoping that more good news would come out and pump them up, just trying to get some momentum out of it, and then take profits when it moved up a little bit, then the falling price could be a signal that that's not going to happen, and then maybe you don't want to be in it. But it depends on if you're in it for the long term or what. But let's see. Anthony Gonzalez, what's the deal with PHUN? We'll take a peek. We'll put it over DWAC, PHUN. So PHUN is moving up a touch. It looks like it's going to be struggling with 3, but we're really waiting for both PHUN and DWAC. Well, first off, the both of them have been moving very similarly, as you guys have probably noticed. If you've been watching the channel especially, you'll know that PHUN and DWAC, I'll pull it up here, are moving extremely similarly, right? They have basically the same movements because it was the same catalyst that drove them up big in the first place, right? They're both off of this Trump stock hype. So potentially we're going to get some good news regarding them sometime soon, right? The True Social beta was actually supposed to launch sometime in November. So, I don't think that actually happened, but we'll see if it happens in December this year. If they can get it out this year, maybe they'll have to wait until next year. Who knows? But these stocks should be moving up on potentially the beta coming out, but also potentially on Trump speaking. But PHUN has some additional catalysts that could be moving it up, specifically PHUN. If you guys have heard of that, I made a video on it a bit ago, and I will pull it up here. So, here we go. PHUN, rewarding you for being you. And this is just what you get if you type in phuncoin.com into your address bar. But PHUN is created by Phunware. And PHUN is a security token that is empowering consumers to take control of and be compensated for their data. So essentially, this is a cryptocurrency that people can be rewarded. And the idea is that they want people to be rewarded in this coin for sharing their data with tech companies. Whereas currently, tech companies don't give you anything for taking your data, right? You just click an agreement and then they get your data for free. And PHUN wants to change it so that they will start paying you in PHUN. Now, obviously, not everyone is going to go along with this. The big tech companies probably have no incentive to accept this and to start paying people in PHUN. But if it really takes off, Phunware does own quite a bit of Phuncoin, and it could be very good for the stock price over the long term if Phuncoin does very well. So that is another potential catalyst, right? They're getting into the crypto space, and they have been buying up Bitcoin, so there are a couple of things that could be driving Phunware up. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And Hero says Northern Dynasty Minerals, NAK, is up 3.355% pre-market. That's awesome because I do own some NAK. So yeah, it's up to 40 cents per share. Nice. It was up. Granted, it was up yesterday. It was up higher than this. It was up to 40.8 cents per share. But we'll see if they can't squeeze out some gains over the next couple of weeks. They haven't been doing too well, but I do think they've got some pump potential, right? So we'll see what happens with NAK. It's not the highest conviction play for me, but I do have some. So let's actually zoom in now that we're on the first couple bars of trading. We missed the first couple bars. We were not paying attention. But we'll pull up the 1 minute charts and take a peek at what's going on with the markets now that we're on the first bars of trading. So pull up DWAC and even PHUN we can pull up. For now, we'll pull it up. And, okay, so it looks like it's a mixed bag, right? Sundial's green. Well, actually, all the stocks we're watching are green right now. So this is not a bad day necessarily, not a bad start to the day, despite the fact that we're getting some red bars initially. Well, now DWAC is red. So on the day, it's lost 0.8%. But everything else is looking a little green, up about 1% or more. Sundial up 1.5%. Rare Earth Metals Refinery News, AUAG, interesting. We're green. Time to get trunks, as Francis. I'll be drinking coffee myself, so we'll see. And Cryptomaniacs says AQST $28 tip ranks price upgrade 450% upside. FDA in a few weeks could probably explode soon, says Cryptomaniac. We'll see. And Silver says, I couldn't find AUAG on American trading platforms. Interesting. AUAG. Yeah, it looks like it's not on TD. So, there we go. It's not on TD Ameritrade. Oh, well. That's too bad. Sundial up over 2%. It looks like they're having some volatility the first couple of minutes. They're deciding if they're going to be green. It looks like stocks are a bit of a mixed bag today. There's some green, there's some red. And let's see what we've got. As FinViz, it hasn't quite updated yet. But we'll see. We'll see. FinViz will hopefully update soon. And it looks like some of the top trending stocks, the most active stocks on StockTwits right now are AMC, SPY, Shiba Inu. It is down only 6% now. It was down 10% a bit ago. AeroClean Technologies, ATNF, 180 Life Sciences Corp. And Apple is actually trending as well. So Apple has been doing very well, actually. Even yesterday, Apple was doing well. So I think it's AAPL. There we go. So Apple, yeah, if you look over the past 30 days, it looks like they made a new high just this pre-market. So they're up 0.79%. New all-time high for Apple. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff for Apple. They were green in a big way yesterday, and they're making new highs today. So cool stuff. An all-time intraday high for Apple. So I'm sure that's one of the reasons why it's trending. But we'll have to see what happens at 10 when we have Fed Chair Powell speaking and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. They're both going to be speaking at 10. And at 10:30, we've got the crude oil inventories numbers coming out. So we'll hope for good news on all of those fronts. That could be good overall for the markets if we increase oil inventories and if Powell and Yellen say things that are very dovish. We don't want too many tapering talks. We would rather that they just give money to the markets, at least if we want stocks to go up, right? So, depending on if you're in cash or if you're in stocks, that could determine what you want them to say. But what about AMC, says Matt Shabit Hassan. So AMC has, unfortunately, if you take a peek, taken a bit of a tumble. AMC has taken a big tumble since we last looked at it. And it's moved down past the $40 level. It hit lows yesterday of $32.75 before it bounced off. Now it's around $35. But it has not been good the past couple of days, right? AMC, it's not that it's unknown for it to get to these levels. It has been lower before. It's been to $30 before, but it is on a little bit of a downtrend right now, which is scary stuff. Looks like they have been moving down, so we'll see if they can hold or if institutions are going to win out, if people are going to get paper hands and sell their AMC. I am not holding AMC. So I don't have any AMC. I don't have anything invested in this, but at the moment, it's either going to look one of two ways to you guys. It depends on if you're apes or not. You're either going to say it's falling, this might be the time to sell and get out before it crashes, or you're going to say it's fallen a little bit. It's cheap now. It's time to grab some more. So I'm not in AMC. I'm not going to do anything with it, but for those of you who are, you've got a decision to make. It looks like so. And Joey says, Silver, you got that right. If I do eat out, small business prices are same as commercial, except quality and portion sizes are bigger and better, I've noticed. Yeah, for sure. I definitely like the small businesses more than, if you go to Chipotle versus the local Mexican restaurant, then, in my opinion, Chipotle is just not quite cutting it, right? And Silver says, Elon worried about big spaceship engine production. Interesting. That probably has something more to do with SpaceX than Tesla. I think Tesla is actually green today. Tesla is green, up 1.77%, getting close to 1,200 again. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. Gold is up. Gold is up 0.73% today. And the markets all around are pretty darn green. IWM having the biggest gains. So the Russells is doing pretty good. They're doing pretty good. And PROG, also green. Sundial has been taking a little bit of a dip. Unfortunately, it's been moving down. It's still green on the day. But overall, it's been falling just a touch. So, not ideal, but not the worst thing that we could see. And for those of you who missed it earlier when we looked at Sundial's short interest, it's actually increased even more since we last looked. We've got short interest change of 1.91% and a short interest of 295 million shares. So that actually has increased by 2 million shares since we last looked. So, not great for Sundial, right? 2 million of these shares may have actually been shorted because we looked at it in the pre-market, and it looks like shorts might be responsible for a little bit of this dip. They haven't done too much to the price, but Susan Burns said, bought Sundial, AQST, and PROG this week. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, very cheap prices for Sundial and PROG also regarding where they were last week. We've just been moving down, so goodbye if you got it this week. And AQST I haven't taken a peek at in a bit, but AQST... looks like it's down yesterday. So, yeah, if you bought it yesterday, definitely off the highs. So, not a bad buy on that either. Nice. So, Deco per limiter talked about MJ last 2.5 minutes and getting it passed. Interesting. So, okay, Democrat from Colorado per limiter talked about MJ. Interesting. We'll have to take a peek and see if there's... if there's any news out. Okay. So I believe we've already looked at this, but Kentucky lawmaker pre-files marijuana legalization bills for 2022 session. So I believe we've looked at this yesterday. It came out yesterday, or 2 days ago, I should say. And a Kentucky lawmaker announced on Monday that she's pre-filing bills to legalize possession, limited sales, and home cultivation of cannabis in the state for 2022. And all in all, good news, right? Even if the feds don't legalize it, it looks like some states might be. So that is good stuff. We'll pull back up DWAC right here. And just excuse me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. I just need to turn the fan on. I always forget to do that. So hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I have returned. Now, let's see. Seem Blind, what's your price target, Rob, for Which stock are we talking about? um, I'm assuming for Sundial. Now, I don't like price targets necessarily. I don't like doing price targets and saying, what price do I think it'll hit? Because even if you give a price target, it's tough to say how long it'll stay at that price, right? So, okay, I see. This is definitely about Sundial because FlexForce just said Yahoo's price target for Sundial went from 71 cents to 101 last night. Interesting. And and Silver says states must go first, so pressure on Congress will last. Yeah, so I think Sundial, we could definitely, before February, I think it's getting over $1 one way or another, even if it's a reverse split. I think they're putting it above $1 by February. Now, obviously, that doesn't actually mean anything in terms of share price rise if they do a reverse split, but I think that they'll really try to get it above $1 before February without the reverse split, right? I think that the share buybacks, some of them will have had to have kicked in by then. It seems pretty obvious that they're going to want to not do a reverse split. That really does tend to alienate investors. They haven't had to do one yet. So I think that Sundial is probably over $1 by February. I think that potentially come the new year, maybe people are tax loss harvesting Sundial at the moment. That could be another explanation for the fall right now. A lot of people are down on money who bought into it, and they're looking to sell Sundial for a loss before the year ends. And in January, a lot of them may be looking to get back in. Potentially before the end of the year, even people may be looking to get back in after that 1 month wash sale rule is up, right? So when you sell a stock for a loss, if you want to claim that loss on your taxes, you have to not get back into the stock for at least a month. And that's to stop people from just literally, seeing that their stock is at a loss, selling it right before the end of the year, and then buying it back a minute later the next day. You have to wait at least a month before buying it back if you want to claim that loss on your taxes. So, So I think that a lot of people might be doing that with Sundial at the moment. Obviously, if you were buying in January or early February, you have the potential to be up on money with Sundial. And if you were buying the year before, then yeah, you do too. But if you're buying any other time, then you are down on Sundial right now, and you could actually be claiming a little tax loss on it. So obviously that's risky to do, as Sundial might end up pumping up before you get the chance to buy back in, especially since it started falling already. So, some people are probably going to be selling their stock over the next couple of days and weeks before 2021 ends. And I think we've already seen a bit of that. So I think we've fallen a little bit, but we could really see some higher prices come January. And the all-time high for Sundial, it's tough to say. It's tough to say the all-time high. Obviously, I think that this company will do well over the long term, and will continue to just rise in price over years. So it's tough to say what the all-time high of it would be. But in the short term, the highest I think that we would see in 2022, if things go really well and we get legalization, I could see it fairly easily getting to $4.20, especially if it gets taken on by Reddit and the Wall Street Bets crowd. I think that we could really see a lot of people potentially rally calling Sundial to 420 as a meme. I think that could definitely help Sundial's price out. But all in all, if everything goes really well, we could get above that. And it would not be impossible to get above that. We could definitely do it. And Silver says, I need DWAC to hold for 2 weeks, then I'm betting the farm. Nice. And Randy the Ape says, AQST take time off, $28 tip, ranks target FDA coming December 23rd, 500% upside. Yeah, we've seen a lot of people saying that kind of thing about AQST. And Seem Blind, I'm going to have to sell not just my grandma, but all of your grandmas as well. Wow. And Silver says, did someone just say Sundial 30-cent jump spoof trade? Not that I've seen, not that I've heard of. And Shadow Girl says, Rob, how to spot pump and dump? So, oftentimes with a pump and dump, there will be a lot of media. And the perfect example of this is actually, I'm going to pull up a crypto example of what I'm viewing as a little bit of a pump and dump. And we'll see if it ends up being a pump and dump. Obviously, it may not be, but one thing that I think might be at the moment is when you get a lot of media attention and hype around something. For instance, Crypto.com coin, over the past month, it's gone from 21 cents. Now it's at 76 cents. And a lot of this rise is due, in part at least, to the massive media and advertising campaign that they've gone on. They've certainly been discussing a lot. If you've seen any YouTube videos lately, you've probably seen a Crypto.com coin ad. I think they even hired, I think it was Matt Damon to star in these ads. So they really are just pumping up Crypto.com coin, and it's not necessarily that they're going to dump it, but I don't think that the price will remain this elevated forever. It certainly seems like if you look over the past year, this thing was at 6 cents. Over the past 3 months, this thing was at 16 cents. It really seems like this is a pump and dump kind of a thing, because I've not heard of what point there is to Crypto.com coin, right? Why it would be better than Bitcoin or Ethereum or even Shiba Inu or Dogecoin. I don't know why it would be better than any of those, other than people are pumping up the price right now, and Crypto.com is spending a lot of money on advertising. So, it's tough to spot a pump and dump just off the charts, because you don't know if the stock or the coin is rising because of fundamental reasons or whatever reasons, right? But you can look at the exterior aspects of it. For instance, the marketing, and if you see really strong marketing for something and there doesn't seem to be too much substance behind the Crypto.com coin marketing, then that can be a good indication that you might be looking at a pump and dump. So, Seeing Blind says, crypto coin is def a pump. If the media bashes a coin, buy it. If the media praises a coin, dump it. Yeah, that tends to be the case for cryptos. And Seeing Blind 2, look at Squid Game token as an example of this. Yeah, Squid Game token. I think that's at 0 right now. And I think the reason is because of how difficult it was to actually sell your coins. I think that you had to, first of all, pay a decent amount to play the Squid Game. And then once you played it, you only had a 1 in 456 chance of winning, which is what you needed to do to sell your coins. So, so it's not a surprise that people didn't want to buy Squid Game token once they realized they couldn't really sell. At least that's my understanding of it. Maybe something else happened. But that's how I understand Crypto.com coin. Squid Game token. Squid Game token. And guys, I will point out that we have got 89 viewers at the moment and 45 likes. So that's about half the people watching. I'm sure that we could get the other half to help out just a little bit. We could maybe get up to 55 or 60 likes. It's possible. We wouldn't need that much to happen. We just need about 10 or 15 people, and you'd be much appreciated if you were one of the people who would do it. So we'll see what we can get. I'll take what we can get. But if we could get up to 55 or 60 likes, that would be much appreciated. And we are already at 51, so we're getting close. We're getting close. I'm confident that we can do it. We're at 52 now, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But what was I about to pull up? Potentially something regarding Sundial. But no. Here it was. MNMD. This stock I have not actually talked about on the channel, but it is a stock that I am fairly bullish on. And this stock basically uses experiments with psychedelic treatments for psychological issues. And Kevin O'Leary is in on this stock. He's an investor in this stock. We're up 6% on the day. We just hit lows yesterday of 189. And I really like this stock for the options, right? I think that, I've bought, I think, 1,500 shares of it, and I've sold some $5 call options on it for 50 cents per share about. So essentially, if I paid around $2, which I bought some more yesterday for less than 2, I paid more than 2 for some. But that 50-cent credit that I'm getting per share really lowers my cost basis, and this is only over the next year. And I'm collecting that 50-cent credit for selling those call options. But the thing is, I don't have to let go of my shares unless it's over $5 per share, which would already be a massive gain on the stock. So I'd be happy to do it over the course of a year. It's great if you can double an investment like that. And I've also been selling put options on it. Now, what I've been doing is selling $2.50 put options, $2.50 put options on this thing, and collecting oftentimes, I think, more than a 50% credit, so $1.25 credit. So there's 1-to-1 risk reward, right? You could either, at the most, lose $1.25 per share or make $1.25 per share. And you only lose $1.25. You only start to lose money if MNMD breaks below $1.25. So you're making money all the way from $1.25 and up. You're making money on selling put options for MNMD. And I'll pull up the put options. The January 23rd 250 put options. So it looks like there is a big variance between the bid and the ask. That typically isn't the case as much. But I guess because we are up so much today, the bid has gone pretty far down on the puts. We're up about 7% on the day. So that's definitely lowering the price of those options overall, but people are still asking for a lot if you want to buy them. But that is an option if you're interested in an MNMD trade. We're up pretty big on the day, 7%. So not going to complain about that. It's not as high as we were just 30 days ago when we were actually above $3 for a brief period. But we'll see what happens with it. I'm liking this one over the long term. And thank you guys. I just looked over. We got 64 likes, so thank you very much. We definitely beat that 60 like goal. That's much appreciated. And on Ape Wisdom, I will point out an interesting stock has popped up. Cortexime, CRTX, up 2,300% mention-wise. I was looking at this earlier today. I couldn't figure out exactly why it was pumping up so much. It looks like it is up about, or it's down 0.15%, so there's not too much volatility with it. I'm really not sure what people are posting on Reddit about it, but it is being mentioned quite a bit on Reddit, so I'm not sure if people are trying to pump it. I looked at the short interest on it, and it was a high short interest, so potentially it's people talking about short squeeze potential. I'll pull it up on Ortex right here, and you can see the short interest on CRTX Cortexime is 51.36%, 9.25 million shares short. So who knows why this one is being discussed so much on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. You can see it right here, though, up to spot number 5, up 149 spots on the day, 2,300% mention-wise increase. So crazy stuff. Who knows why it's pumping up on Reddit so much and not in the markets, but we'll have to keep an eye on it and see what happens if it continues to do that or starts to move down. So it looks like gold is starting to move back up. We're at 167, so up 1% on the day. Not bad. Hopefully we'll have this be a nice bounce off of 165.50. And we'll continue on the way up. We'll see what happens with gold. I think that all these inflation talks are starting to worry people. So NAKD, I ought to pull up NAKD. So NAKD, yeah, it is staying kind of flat. Unfortunately, it's not moving as much as we were hoping for. But give it time. I say give it time. I think that over the past, if you look at the past 30 days, it's not like it's insane movements, right? It does tend to stick around the same price for a couple of days before making its move. So I'm not too worried about this, right? We had a little bit of a bump up 2 days ago in the pre-market, and we have held 60 cents pretty well. So we'll see what happens if we break below 60. And really, if we break below 56, I think, is the real level that I would be worried about. Or if we got it. If we look at the past 90 days, yeah, 56 cents. If we break below that, then we're technically breaking the pattern of higher highs and higher lows, which you can see has played out pretty nicely over the past while. This high actually is inaccurate. It extends up here in the after hours and pre-market. So we have been seeing higher highs and higher lows, but that pattern has been slowing down, right? So we'll see. We'll see if we can maintain it, but I think it's a decent trade, right? EV stocks are hot right now, and they will be taking Centro Automotive public, so it could be good for them. It could be good. And Silver says, I like Kroger jumping from 42 to 50 earnings and winter food play. That does sound good for Kroger. That is a good thing. And Sundial, it looks like we're finally getting some green bars, so maybe we will be starting to bounce soon. That would be the hope. PROG stock down 2.49%, 2.72%. We'll see. We'll see what happens with PROG on the day. If we can bounce off of 3, that's what we need to happen. We need PROG to bounce off of $3. That would be ideal. But who's to say what'll happen with PROG? It is actually breaking the pattern. It has broken the pattern a touch, as I've mentioned in the past. The pattern that it's seen of pumping up and consolidating and pumping up to higher highs after that. It did technically break the pattern, so we are in scary territory. It's also returned to some of the previous levels that we've seen, so it's getting pretty darn close to breaking the pattern on both sides. And Amy Spar says, Squid Game is a junk coin. You have to invest in coins that have good utility, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, ADA, I think that's Cardano, Link, Mana, ENJ. Invest wisely with crypto and you will make dollars, she says. Yeah, Squid Game's no good. Squid Game I don't like. I just don't like that it was so difficult to sell the coins. And Jamario TV, what did I miss about Sundial? Not too much. We started the day green as usual. We started subsiding. There was some news that I pulled up about Sundial, which we talked about in the last stream. But let's pull it up again. It was the Kentucky pre-filing of legalization bills for 2022. So Kentucky lawmaker announced on Monday that she is pre-filing bills to legalize possession, sales, home cultivation of cannabis in Kentucky for 2022 session. So good news there. But really the big kahuna is federal legalization. That's what we're all waiting for. And I think that is the one that could be moving us up really bigly next quarter, right? In the first quarter of 2022, I think that we could definitely see, the Republican legalization bill getting through the House and the Senate, especially because Democrats for so long have been calling for legalization. It would be very tough for them, I think, to say no to a Republican-led legalization bill now that there is something on the table. And the fact that the bill reads pretty good for cannabis, right? It's not taxed all that much. It expunges some of the past cannabis convictions that were nonviolent. It's all in all a pretty darn good bill, and that's how it seems to me. As not a legal expert or anything, but it seems pretty good when just reading the bullet points of it. And I think it'd be tough for Democrats to say no to it. Obviously, it could get through the House and Senate, and then the president could say no. We'll see. We'll see what happens, though. I'm pretty hopeful for it, but. Sundial, also, I will point out, Sundial has been getting pushed down a little bit today, and part of that is due to shorts. If you take a peek at the short interest, we have been steadily increasing. We started the day at about 1% short interest change, a little bit lower than that even, and 293, I think, 293 million shares, and we slowly increased that to 295. Now we're at 296.47, so 3.5 million shares have been shorted about just today. So that explains a bit of this dip that we've seen. Shorts have slowly been pushing it down, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So Algorand, 4% return as well as the growth. And Silver says, I like coins anchored with gold. Yeah, that would be cool. Are there coins that are anchored with gold? There might be. There must be at least one or two. Someone must have thought of it. Yeah, but I mean, with the coins anchored with gold, it's essentially the same thing as buying something like GLD, the ETF that tracks gold. So the cryptos anchored in gold are cool too, but limited, I think, in their not in their utility. Obviously, they could have quite a bit of utility if people transact in them, but limited potentially in their upside if you have to buy gold for every coin that you've got, or if they can be backed by gold to a certain extent, but it would limit somewhat the upside unless gold was going up a lot in price. And silver says Dollar Tree up in price is about $1. I know. I went there the other day, and I was surprised to see that a lot of the and I think the ticker symbol for it is DG, Dollar General. A lot of the prices, were $1 still. Some of them were, but a lot of the other items, the more expensive items, were $5. Some of the bigger items were like $5 at Dollar General, so I wasn't used to seeing that. I hadn't been in quite a while, and they have certainly raised some prices quite a bit. So scary stuff to see, the real life impacts of the inflation. But it's certainly occurring. And in 1 minute, we're actually going to have Federal Reserve Chair Powell speaking. It's 9:59, and at 10 he will be speaking today. At 10, as also at 10, we will have Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen speaking. So two big kahunas will be talking, and we'll see what they have to say about the future of the markets, right? If they're going to be dovish, or if they're going to potentially talk more about tapering. So who thinks Congress will increase debt ceiling or suspend? I think they'll probably increase the debt ceiling. I think they always increase the debt ceiling. And Hero says, I had a dream last night that SHIB will hit $1 this week. Interesting. Yellen will talk debt ceiling. Yeah, I think she'll talk debt ceiling. Wow. So Ambition says that school shooting was 30 minutes for me. We played them in sports. Sad morning prayers for them. Amazing community of people. Wow. I was unaware of a school shooting. But I'm sorry to hear that, and that's scary that it was so close. But geez. Yeah, I was unaware of a school shooting. I guess the news has not gotten to me yet. I didn't hear about it, but I also don't pay too much attention to the news. I'd almost prefer not to hear that kind of stuff. It's saddening, but yeah, hopefully it wasn't Oxford High School in Michigan. Wow, that is sad to hear. And good morning, Worldsa. But yeah, that's rough. Every time there's a school shooting, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there who are willing to do it, and I don't know why, but we've got to do our best to get to them beforehand and either convince them not to or lock them up. I think so. Steve Carone says XELA. We've looked at XELA before. XELA Technologies down 2.36%. It looks like we're hitting the lows that we hit way back in June. So this is potentially a buying point. We have been dipping a lot. A lot of stocks have been falling over the past while. A lot of these growth stocks ever since July have been falling. So we'll see what happens with Exela. Until we see something big, you never know when you're going to see something big that's just going to shoot the price up like this. So if you're holding it already, then potentially a strategy you could take with it. If you're holding it and you're down on money, then potentially what you could do is you could sell before the end of the year, harvest the tax loss. If you have some other gains that you want to write off this year, then you could pay less in taxes by selling this for a loss, and then in 30 days buy back in. It could potentially be lower. Obviously, it could potentially have spiked up by then. A lot of people might be selling come at the end of the year. That might be a reason why it has been declining over the past month. A lot of people might be looking to get the tax loss on it. So, potentially you could lose some money. But if you have big gains that you want to write off, then it's an option to consider. But it could be doing well over the next year. Who knows? Who knows what it'll do? It is reaching its previous lows. So if there was a place to bounce, this would be it. Either this or the psychological level of $1 would be nice. Also near the lows of where they were about a year ago. So we'll see what happens with XELA. But any news on DWAC, asks Maria. It's creeping up again. Yeah, it is. I find it often follows this pattern of moving up in the mornings and then getting beaten down after a move up. But we'll see if that happens again today. I don't believe there's any news. It was supposed to have news, at least by yesterday. It was supposed to have news of the True Social beta coming out, which I do not believe has happened, but they said sometime in November. It was supposed to happen, so we'll see what happens with it, but they didn't launch the beta as of yet, but they could be doing it sometime this month in December. Now that they've missed the November deadline, they might be doing it in December. So we'll see. We've got 30 more days. If they want to get it out, if they want to get the beta out in 2021, then this is their chance to do it. So we'll see if they care that much about it, or if they're willing to wait. If they want to polish some things, we'll see. And Amy Spar says, I like GRWG for a long-term cannabis stock. What are your thoughts on this company? So let's take a look at GRWG. GRWG right here. GrowGenerationCore.com. So, cannabis stock. It looks like it's followed a very similar pattern to a lot of these cannabis stocks over the past year. And let me pull it up and see what exactly they're all about, market cap and all that. So, market cap of $1 billion. So, not a cheap company, even. It's not bad. They're one of the bigger ones. Grow Generation Core engages in the retail of hydroponic and organic specialty gardening products. It offers lighting fixtures, nutrients, seeds, and growing medium systems, trays, fans, filters, humidifiers, and dehumidifiers, timers, instruments, water pumps, irrigation supplies, and hand tools. So, not a direct cannabis play, but interesting. Definitely something that would be benefiting if cannabis were to be made legal. I think a lot more people would need that stuff. And, the thing about this is people may need that stuff even without cannabis legalization. So it could definitely definitely be doing well in the future, especially, I mean, if we start changing our farming practices in general, start going more of a hydroponic and high yield route as opposed to just kind of covering large swaths of land. Then yeah, we could definitely see GRWG moving up, even without legalization. I think this one could do good. Obviously, it looks like it's at a fairly steep valuation right now. Let's see, the PE ratio is 54.26, and price to sales ratio 9.66. So not the worst, but also it's pretty highly valued at the moment. And FlexForce says, "Yo, block this hero guy, just a spam pony." No, I believe Hero is real. Hero, say something if you're real. I believe you're real. I'm pretty sure he's not a bot. I'm pretty sure he's real. He's said stuff to indicate. I did call him out on it once. I said I'm pretty sure he was a bot, but I don't think so. I hope he's not a hit. Come on, Hero. Don't prove me wrong here. Well, we'll see what he says. I will give him a chance. And what about HITIDI? Says great forever. HITIDI. I don't know if I can find that symbol. HITIDI. It is. I don't think there's a symbol for that one. And Silver says, I'm in DWAC at 11.55 and making the farm bet if it holds $40. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's looking like it's holding it fairly well. We'll see. It has been struggling at 40 for a bit, so we'll see what it can do. And Maria says, great audience. God bless you all. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day so far. Even though some of the stocks are a little red today. It's not as green as we were hoping. A lot of stocks, though, if we go to Finviz, I believe we can see it. A lot of stocks are very green. So hopefully you guys are having a good day. If you're invested in the big tech companies, those are quite green at the moment. Amazon, Tesla, Facebook, Google, Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, even Disney and Netflix doing good. Financials are doing very well. Banks are up. Credit card companies are up. Berkshire Hathaway is up. Basic materials, pretty much everything is green, it looks like. So very green day in the markets. Good to see. Potentially not quite wiping out the losses that we saw yesterday. If we look at SPY, let's pull up SPY real quick and see if we've wiped out the losses from yesterday. So we're not as high as we were at the close 2 days ago, but we are above the open from the look of it. So yeah, we're above the open of yesterday. So good stuff. We've wiped out yesterday's losses, and it looks like as of 10, or right before 10, at 10 actually, we started moving up big. So potentially when Powell started speaking, we started moving up. Vincent Sawyer says Neo Day is coming. It certainly could. I mean, the EVs, let's pull up Neo actually and see what Neo's been doing. But the EVs have almost left Neo behind, right? Neo has not moved up nearly as much. It's not at the all-time highs like Tesla, Lucid, and Rivian were just a little bit ago. It wasn't near the all-time highs, but we'll see. We'll see if that can change. It looks like PROG is trying to hold $3, so we'll see if PROG can do it. We'll replace PROG with SPY for a minute and put Sundial right here. We'll see if we can get either of those moving up. And Zach Taylor says, on what market? It's HITI in US. Okay, we'll take a peek at HITI also. And Neo is up 2% though. But there was something else. High Tide Inc. HITI. Okay. High Tide. I think we've looked at this one before. And I think, what, is it another cannabis company, I believe? Wow, and they've done a lot of stock splitting. So, interesting. But let's take a peek at HITI. So High Tide Inc. High Tide engages in the manufacture and retail of cannabis, smoking accessories, and lifestyle products. So we have looked at this one before. So they're the other kind of stock that could be doing well, even if cannabis isn't fully legalized. People might still be buying these products because this is a legal business, I believe. And they say it's cannabis, smoking accessories, but I believe that they can still sell them, even if they're smoking accessories, as long as it's not the cannabis itself. So, even without legalization, High Tide could be doing pretty well, and that may be why they haven't fallen quite as much as some of the other cannabis companies. But they're still pretty high regarding where they were a year ago, 193. Now they're at around $6, so they're doing good. Will be nice if Sundial buy HITI, says Steve Caron. Oh, and they sell cannabis too, says Zach Taylor. Okay. Yeah, it's including, okay. The retail segment represents brands including Canna Cabana, New Leaf Cannabis, Meta Cannabis Co., Kush Bar, Grass City, Smoke Cartel, and CBD City. Yeah, I guess they do sell cannabis, but okay, that's good. I mean, they could definitely benefit. Let's see what the market cap is. So $342 million market cap, so still fairly cheap. Still a fairly small market cap. Obviously, you kind of want to be a bigger player in the cannabis space, right? You want to have the benefit of economies of scale. But, these smaller market cap ones certainly could run quite a bit. There is the possibility of that happening, and you never know which one is going to take the winnings of the whole thing, right? And become the big one. But we'll see. So, will be nice if Sundial buys HITI. Yep, we saw that. And hello, Rod. Is PROG in PROG shorts cover as possible when we don't see price action and price going down? Is it normal? So with PROG stock, what they've been able to do is really start covering a lot. It looks like they've started increasing their positions today, actually. So some shorts are coming in today, but they've been able to decrease their positions a lot during this big slump in PROG price when a lot of people were discouraged about PROG stock. They were able to hide their buys in the big volume, cover some of their positions for a loss for the most part, while PROG was, we'll pull PROG up here, while PROG was falling off the highs, while a lot of the new traders who had gotten in were being discouraged that PROG had bounced off of 640 about, or $6, depending on how you look at it. A lot of traders were discouraged because of that. A lot of traders were selling their stock, most likely recent buyers of the stock. And some shorts were able to cover around here. So some shorts have been covering and have not been raising the price, right? What you want with a short squeeze is for people to be buying, net buyers, in addition to shorts having to buy back their shares, because that creates a much larger buying pressure. Obviously, they were able to cushion some of the selling, which was nice, right? We haven't moved past 3 yet. So they have cushioned some of the selling by covering some of their shares, but when you get a short squeeze, it's typically when the stock is moving up and they get squeezed out, not them choosing to buy back their shares while the stock is dipping down. It could be a good indication for PROG, though. The fact that some shorts are covering that they don't think PROG will be moving that much further down, obviously. If they were willing to cover that many shares, then they don't think PROG will be moving that much further down. So that may indicate that PROG has a bright future ahead of it, even on a fundamental level. That would be nice for people holding it for a fundamental reason. It could be doing well. So, Rich M, that's it. That's good. That's good. All right, guys, I will be right back. Quick refill of this water. Quick bathroom break. I'll be right back, guys. So just sit tight for a minute and enjoy the charts. I'll be right back. Okay, I have returned. I am back. So let's see what has changed since I've left. Not much, it looks like. Um, so Sundial's moving down a little bit, as you know, as it has been for the past couple of days. Nothing new there. PROG, it looks like, is really testing $3 though. It's actually hitting $3 now. We had a little bounce below to 2.99 just for a brief second, and now it looks like we're bouncing off of 3. We'll see what we can do. We have bounced off of $3 before. During the pre-market yesterday, we bounced off of it, so we'll see if we can do it again. Hopefully, we will maintain the $3 level, though it looks like we will struggle with it for a bit. At least there's some pretty significant volume coming in, trying to push it down. We'll see what happens. Obviously, you know, there are shorts coming into PROG at the moment. If we take a peek at the Ortex, you can see that there are 6.8% more shorts in today than there were yesterday. So shorts are trying to push this one down. Maybe some of the existing shorts see that a lot of available shares have opened up as other shorts have exited, and they are looking to potentially move it down below 3 and discourage some investors and get them selling and maybe make a profit on their PROG shorts. So, you know, they're probably in the red at the moment because PROG has mostly been moving up over the past 90 days when a lot of those short positions originated. But if they got in over the past month then they could be green potentially, as we're nearing the lows of the past month. We've hit 3 several times, and we can extend this even to the left to see. We've hit 3 a couple times here, as well as over here, and then just recently we hit $3. So we'll see what happens at 3 this time. Hopefully nothing bad. Hopefully we don't dip too much. Enrico says, we'll load more on Sundial if it goes down more. Yeah, so what I did yesterday was Sundial, actually. It was interesting. I will show you guys this, and I'm not trying to convince anyone to take this trade or anything. But if you are interested in Sundial, then there's the potential to sell some put options on it for January 20th of 2023. And you get a pretty good premium on those. 17 cents you get to collect for selling a 50-cent put option. So you're essentially saying that you'll buy the stock and you'll pay 33 cents for it in January of 2023, which is about half the price of where it is now. And that's only if the stock is below 50 cents, right? Above 50 cents, you just get to keep the 17-cent premium. So it's a decent deal, right? You're essentially you're putting up. It's a 2-to-1 risk reward. If Sundial goes to 0, then you lose double what you could potentially be making on the trade. But it seems very likely to me that we will be above 50 cents by January of 2023. It seems very likely that would be the case. So hopefully it will be. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not too worried about Sundial dropping below 50 cents. And Rob Amazy, I'm surprised you're more bullish in Sundial than DWAC. Well, there are just so many catalysts. I mean, we can pull up DWAC. There are just so many catalysts that Sundial has going for it. I mean, DWAC as well, right? But that is really reliant on when Trump decides to say something. And it has, I will admit, I mean, both Sundial and DWAC have been falling quite a bit over the past 90 days. So, or rather over the past maybe 10 or 20, 30 days, whatever it is. But Sundial could really explode. I've seen it in the past. It has, and as has DWAC, I'll admit. And I'm not necessarily too much more bullish on Sundial. It's just that Sundial has already had a meme movement behind it. I think it would be really easy to get the Wall Street Bets crowd to come back and surround Sundial again and get them pumping up big like they pumped it up last time, especially if we get legalization. I just see that as such a massive potential. And obviously, DWAC could be doing very well. But I think it will be potentially stifled almost by the reality of the beta, and we'll have to see how good True Social is. It definitely has big pump potential, right? If we just get a bunch of, that statistic I was pulling up when I first started looking at DWAC, if we pull up the people who voted for Trump and the float of DWAC, it's looking to be like we could definitely move it pretty high if everyone buys in a little bit. And yes, I did sell DWAC for 51. And so I am out of DWAC. I'm hoping that I can get it back a little bit cheaper. I just think that when you break a strong support like that, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if we can hold at 40 bucks. At this point, I am looking for a little bit more risk off regarding some of these trades. Sundial, though, once again, risk off position. I'm not necessarily buying more Sundial, but selling put options on it. DWAC I'm a bit more wary of because it's a SPAC and it's not going to remain as DWAC to sell put options on it. Otherwise, I would probably be considering that more strongly. So it's not going to remain as DWAC. So the put options on it, I don't really like holding options through mergers and that kind of stuff, although you are able to get some pretty good premiums, honestly, over the next year. But, it's tough to say what those premiums and what the price is going to look like when it turns into TMTG and all that. You never know what kind of manipulative practices they'll pull with options. But I am a bit more wary of selling options with SPACs that have not gone over and changed yet, but we'll see. And Sundial January puts are 3 or 4 cents each for the bid and ask. Okay, so yeah, the Sundial, the January puts, you can definitely make some money with, let's see, where's the January put? Right there, January 2022. Yeah, you could definitely collect some premium with those. I mean, you'd have to, it would be a much smaller percentage gain than you'd be getting over by selling them in 2023. But it is much quicker. So Jesus A says DWAC website got an update last night for Pumperino. Okay. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, I'd want to get back in DWAC if we moved above 50. That's where I'd probably say, all right, let's not miss this ride. But until we do start seeing a big movement upwards, I'm a little wary, right? Because we did break through 55. We'll see how much lower it goes. I mean, we've been struggling with 40. We'll see if we can hold 40. And Adam Blackwell says, I see you looking at January 2023. That's a little far. That is a little far. And I don't necessarily expect to hold the put contracts all the way through, right? Obviously, if we move up in a big way, these put contracts could become much less valuable, and then I could buy them back for a lot cheaper than I sold. I sold for 17 cents. So all we would need is, for maybe a 50% gain in those over the next month or two, if Sundial really moves up in a big way, and those become much less valuable, then I would be willing to buy those back. I would not be waiting. For for too long of a period of time to buy those back if they were in the green. And it looks like PROG is bouncing off at $3. So that is good. And Vivi Reddick says DWAC volume is low. It means nobody is selling. And Rico says Trump is a master of getting media attention. DWAC pump coming. I hope so. You never know how low it'll get before the pump, though. You never know. I mean, it's obviously very heavily shorted, as we saw when we last looked. There certainly are a lot of people betting against it, trying to keep it down, but look at that. 9.95% short interest, 2.99 million shares, 99% of the 99% utilization. So pretty much everyone who can short this thing is shorting it. But obviously, that would just be more buying pressure if we did start rising a bit. We'll have to see, where did those shorts originate. So it looks like a lot of those shorts came in when DWAC was around $50, around 50 or $60. So we can see right here. A lot of those shorts, obviously, they just started covering it right here. So maybe some of the shorts were getting in before. But around 50, 60, maybe $70 is when most of the shorts were coming in. And this is a very small decrease, actually, in the short interest. Some ended up covering when we saw that dip down below 55. It looks like some of the shorts decided to take profit. Not very many, about 1% of them. So all in all, the shorts are in at a fairly high price. Okay. Streaming service by DWAC confirmed. Nice. We did miss that November beta release, though, says Jesus A. Yeah. That was unfortunate. And CNTX was a great bet for me at $5. Let's take a peek at CNTX. Up quite a bit. Looks like this is a Zach Morris pump. Yeah, so CNTX up quite a bit. We'll take a peek and see what Zach Morris is saying. Let's see what he's all about right now. Okay, so see if he's saying CNTX anywhere. He's talking about Wish, I see. He's retweeting people talking about CNTX. Let's see, what did he say about it? I'll control F, CNTX. So it looks like we've got one mention of CNTX. It's his retweet right here, where he retweeted $CNTX today starts the 25 days of Zachmas at Mr. Zach Morris. Nice. So maybe he tweeted about it a bit ago. So these are all relatively recent tweets. So we'll see if we can't find something on it. But let's see. So as of November 29th, CNTX. So there are a couple more mentions now we see. So we retweeted an Alpha Pix. Okay, and then a bunch of Arabic symbols, it looks like, talking about CNTX. So he's posted a decent amount. Interesting. So he is helpful a lot of the time. He was pumping 2 weeks ago. Interesting. Oh, okay. So it was a while ago then. And Vivi Ruddick says, SPCE is a good price to buy. Let's take a peek at SPCE. So it's at $16 right now, up 0.55%. And it's looking like we might get a bounce. Yeah, we might get a bounce off of 15. We've had it happen in the past, so it certainly could happen again. And La Cucaroca, or La Cucara Cow. La Cucara Cow. Good morning. What's up, man? What's up? I will point out, guys, 88 viewers of the stream, 78 likes. It would be nice if we could bump that up by 10 and get to 88 likes on the stream, just as many as we have viewers. That would be appreciated. If you want to be one of the 10 people to like the stream, we could get up to 88. I think it's very possible that we could do that. We'll see. But yeah, SPCE, it looks like we had a pretty solid bounce yesterday. We've continued that a bit today, though we are starting to falter a little bit, moving back down to the lows of day. So we'll see what happens with it. If it can hold 16, if it's going to start its bounce now, or if it is going to go all the way down to $15 and then start its bounce. Or obviously, there's the potential that it could fall past that. Let's hope not. I mean, these space stocks are a ways out, I think, from being profitable. I think that they're a ways out. They've still got a lot of work to do. So this could be a couple year long play. So though we can take a peek at the options on it. Potentially there's some options you could be selling. Yeah, you could sell some $15 call options and essentially be buying it for $10 if it drops below 15 in 2023. You could be doing that. So not necessarily the worst thing to be doing. Yeah, you could get it for fairly cheap, I suppose. Obviously, it could drop more, but it has gotten pretty darn low. And $10 is, it was a SPAC before, so $10 would be pretty cheap for it. But we'll see. Obviously, they've made a lot of advancements since they were acquired by the SPAC. They've had a couple of launches at this point, so they've been doing good. And look at that, we're at 87 likes, so very close to that $88 or 88 like goal. Just one more like even. If anyone wants to be the one to make this 88 likes, that would be appreciated. We'll see if we can do it. But let's see. MNMD, it looks like it's fallen a little bit from the highs of 215. We're only up 3% on it. I'm not sure if anyone else is in on MNMD, but I'm in on it in a decent way. So, Ufuk says, do you think if Sundial established a delivery service for alcohol and MJ, would this be a good thing? I don't think that would be bad for him. I think that would be good. I think that would definitely be good. But I will point out that in Canada, I believe Uber Eats has started listing cannabis on their purchase page, and you can pick it up. You can't order it for delivery. You can only get it for pickup. You can buy it on Uber Eats, and then you can go there and pick up your online order. So I think that's just because of how the laws are right now. But it's definitely something that they should be working on legal wise, right? Obviously, we're going to want the laws to change more in favor of allowing, or just having less restrictions regarding cannabis. We're going to want probably a delivery service for it. That would be very useful, it seems. Probably very good for anyone invested in it. So yeah, I think that would be great for Sundial. But it could be a ways off, right? And before they have their own delivery service, it'll probably be listed on Uber Eats. So Ufuk says you could call it your dealer. Yeah, you could. That's a way to go with it. That's a way to go. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I expect that kind of thing to take a while to get out there. So that could take some time before they end up doing that. And it's looking like it's 10:30. We might have to end this one a little bit early. Unfortunately, I will say I'm feeling some, I don't know if it's sinus pressure or what, but my ears have not felt quite right this morning. So we'll see. Maybe I just have to do some breathing exercises and blow out whatever it is in there. But we will end the day taking a quick peek at crypto, getting a recap on what crypto's been doing. Bitcoin down 0.44%, Ethereum up 0.74%. So the big ones are pretty stable. Binance Coin is up a little bit. Tether always stays at $1, so who cares? Dogecoin down 3%, and Shiba Inu down 3%. It was down more if you looked earlier. It has fallen a bit from the or is it falling? It doesn't look like on this chart it's falling, but it has fallen a bit. Okay, yeah, no, it has fallen a bit, but it has regained some of its dip. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Shiba Inu. It'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. If it regains the uptrend or if it falls more. We'll see what happens with Shiba Inu. Hopefully, it will regain its uptrend. I'm still holding some Shiba Inu. Apparently, I just looked today, and apparently I still have some Shiba Inu. And I do want to look into how to buy SafeMoon, so I will likely do that soon. But other than that, guys, thank you all for watching. Thanks for coming to the stream. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow. And hopefully, tomorrow will be an even greener day for a lot of these stocks that we're watching than today was. Unfortunately, it's turned into a bit of a red day for some of these smaller stocks. The markets overall are doing decently. Tech is doing great as usual, and that's how it is a lot of the time, right? The institutions are buying their favorites and shorting our favorites. So other than that, guys, have a great one. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.